I don't know, but most athletes start thinking that they're going to make it or not, or start striving for that. But at 6, 8, 10, whatever, it's all fun and games. You're just enjoying yourself. Once you get to middle school, it gets pretty serious. Once you're in high school, it's very serious. Once you're in college, it's pretty much a freaking job. You're trying to win. If you ask anyone about what do you think about salespeople, they're going to tell you sleazy. They're going to tell you all these negative things about salespeople. So how do you change that? Well, you have to adjust to their personality. You have to make them feel comfortable. And essentially, you have to make them feel that you're here for them, to add value to them. Because I'm not selling you something you don't want to buy. That would be weird.
Something happened in my life, something personal, and then I said, you know what, man, I want to try to go off this. And I bet all on myself. I wasn't making like hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s, but I was living very well. Quit cold turkey and decided to go into this new venture. Who got me into it was a friend of mine, wife, that was a property manager down the street here for actually one of the biggest. This company bought most of the real estate down here in South Florida for the past 3-4 years. It's called Harbor Group Management. They bought they own Parkline. Have you been downtown where they own Parkline, those 2 towers over, I think it's like 7 or 1,000 units. So she got me in. She gave me opportunity. Crazy. Got me in. I was able to see the advantage, be able to see where I could take advantage of, because everybody was using different vendors. So you'll have like 4 or 5 different vendors. And I said, wait, why don't I just hire painters, hire cleaning, hire this, hire that. You contact one company, they help you with the whole scheduling. You're able to turn the unit faster, because that's what you want, to turn the unit faster. You don't want the unit out of the market for a long period of time. And I was able to find that niche, and then everybody else started copycatting me.
I freaking love that story. Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're rolling, but we're good.
Yeah,
but we're good.
Kind of behind the scene, hasn't it?
Yeah.
No, because I really freaking love these stories. People are like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck, or yada, yada, yada. It's like, I don't know how you came up with this idea of who brought you this idea or whatever, but like, I think it's a good message to people that are like, they don't know what to do, or sometimes you don't have to know. You like, I want to own my own business, but I don't know in what. And then opportunities came up because your mind was in that space, and the universe kind of put the people right in front of you. And then your fiance was like, let's do this. And then bam, 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 one thing turned into another one. Now you have a legit business for the last 5 years, based on like just putting your mind in the right space.
Hustling. You know, it's that's basically what it was, man. It was just trying to put pieces together, and I'm grateful that it worked out. It worked out, and it's a business, man. It's definitely a business.
I'll be honest with you, man. With people like you, because I meet people like you, it's always going to work out. Like, and if it doesn't work out, it's just going to be something that you learn for the next step of your life, because your mindset is just different. You're a hustler. Like, you're just like out there trying things, and you're either succeeding at that or learning from that. So at the end of the day, it's always going to work out. That's my mentality, man.
For you being, because talking to Jacob a little bit, because I wanted to know a little bit about you. He told me that were you a professional baseball player, or okay? And then what made that was it something that happened what happened in the career that you said, you know what, let me go into real estate? Or was real estate your first?
Well, it's a combination of things. So I feel like I tell this story a lot.
I'm sorry if
no, not at all. I would love saying the story, because I feel like I get better and better every time I say it. So I was born in Miami. I was raised in Dominican Republic, and for those that don't know about Dominicans, we play baseball. That's what we do, and we sing merengue
and bachata. Good dancers come out of DR.
Yes. Growing up, my uncles played baseball. My dad played baseball. Growing up, my older cousin got drafted in the first round by the Pirates.
Wow.
My other older cousin got drafted in the 5th round by the Arizona Diamondbacks. So we're a baseball family.
All majors or minors?
Unfortunately, none of us made it to the majors. But look, if you play high school, you're good.
1,000.
If you play college, you're very good. If you're playing the pros, you're amazing. If you're playing the big leagues, you're a rock star. So anyhow, as you know, it's a very tough sport. But
Very.
to answer your question, I grew up wanting to become a professional baseball player. But thankfully, I had an uncle that was our right door neighbor, and he was an architect slash developer. And I just listening to him and the properties that he owned, and at some point, I remember even going into different neighborhoods and collecting rent
This is down here in Miami.
in Dominican Republic.
Oh, in DR.
Yeah, I must have been like, I don't know, 8, 9 years old. And with my cousin and some friends, I remember biking around the neighborhood and just randomly like, oh, look at that house. How much do you think the house is worth?
Yeah.
So I always gravitated towards real estate. And I always thought I will make it to the big leagues, make all this money, and become a real estate investor. So real estate was always something that I wanted to do. Fast forward, played high school, college, played some professional baseball. At some point, I am playing independent baseball in Mexico, and I just looked at myself. I was 24 years old, and I said, "Wow!" Like, I just felt like that dream coming into an end, and I said, "What am I going to do now?" And I knew that it wasn't baseball anymore. I knew that I had to move on. I knew that I was much more than just a baseball player. And I'm not gonna lie, I fell into like a deep depression.
I was going to ask you that. And at 24 years old.
Yeah. When so now looking back, I'm like, you're a baby. You're so young.
Correct.
But at the time, you feel like your world is ending. You feel
Yeah.
like, wow, like that. I'm a failure. I didn't make it. I let my family down because at the time it was not just me. It's my entire family is counting on me to make it. So it was really, really tough to come out of that. I want to give a shout out to my older brother Caesar, because I went to New York to get physical therapy on my right arm, and
What position did you play?
I play middle infield,
Okay.
second base, shortstop, but wherever they would put me.
Yeah, of course.
At the end of the day, I was a baseball player. I played wherever. So anyhow, long story short, my brother said, "Hey, why don't you stay here on the couch, to figure things out?" And 2 weeks turned into 2 years in New York. And I remember he gave me a book, and it was In the Pursuit of Excellence. And the book talks a lot. It was specifically about like athletes transitioning into something else, or athletes that have gotten hurt and are going back into competing. And anyhow, it was talking about things that really made you happy, like what really makes you happy. And the way it posed the question, it wasn't that simple. It was in a deep way that made you think. And I remember just answering automatically, like, quickly. It's like, I just love helping people. Like, I really gravitate adding value to people. And I was like, okay, well, so then the next question is like, what can you do and what field can you work where you're adding value to people? And at the time, it was fitness.
This is what the book is.
The
This is
book
what
was-
you're learning from the book.
Correct. The book was sparking all these thoughts. It was asking me questions, and it made me really think deep into these things, because I was transitioning to playing baseball now into the real world, I guess. And fast forward, I went into the fitness world. I was athletic. I was fit. I went to school for exercise science. People used to ask me like, "Man, what do you do? Can you train me?" So it was an easy thing to go into personal training.
For
which-
athletes?
Not necessarily for athletes. And at
Okay.
the time, I think I had a block. I almost wanted to like separate myself from the
Really?
athletic world. Yeah, that's how like depressed I was and how blocked I was from that I didn't even want to deal with athletes, specifically baseball players. But after about 6 months, then I kind of realized that was just a block, and that was just trauma that I had there, and shame. So I was
Do you
able
think
to-
there's a lot of athletes that probably suffer from that and get stuck there?
100%, man. 100%. Just think about this. I don't know, but most athletes start thinking that they're going to make it or not, or start striving for that. But, at 6, 8, 10, whatever, it's all fun and games. You're just enjoying yourself. Once you get to middle school, it gets pretty serious. Once you're in high school, it's very
serious.
Once you're in college, it's pretty much a freaking job. Like you're trying to win, and you're playing the game to win. And then in baseball, specifically baseball, by the time you're in high school, you already have an idea.
If you're gonna make
if
it,
you have what it takes in order for you to make it. So when you put so much time and energy into something, And at a certain point, that comes to an end. I don't care who you are. It's going to
devastating.
affect you. It's going to affect you big time. Specifically, if you were like me, in the sense that this is something that I would tell little kids, is that don't attach your performance to your self-worth. Separate the two. Baseball is what you play, enjoy doing, and perhaps what your job will be in the future. But who you are is much more than that. You are a son, you are a brother, sister, a friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever that may be. But definitely separate yourself from what you do to your self-worth, because if not, they can eat you apart.
Yeah, man, it must have been tough, especially at 24 years old.
Yeah. So to finish my story, I went into fitness and loved it, because I realized that I really love helping people. When you do personal training, it gets really personal. So people really open up to you, and you really get to help them in many different ways. And I'm the luckiest man in the world. I was able to train extremely successful people, from attorneys to doctors to hedge fund guys.
This is all in New York?
All in New York at the time. And 2 years or 2.5 years into it, I said, okay, I think I'm ready to do my own thing now, because that's my mind. My mind thinks as an entrepreneur. I wanted to.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Angel.
No.
Were you were doing the training? Were you working out of a gym or?
I skipped that part.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you for reminding me. I was working at Equinox.
Okay.
Because my older brother was a personal training manager at one of the Equinoxes in New York. We ended up not working at the same Equinox. But Equinox, by the way, shout out to Equinox. They taught me so much.
That's awesome.
Taught me about how to treat clients, the art of asking questions to get to people's pain and get to what is it they're looking for in order for you to then match that.
And to have a better understanding.
Yes, and they provided a lot of that we had to pay for, but they provided a lot of classes and a lot of seminars. And one of them that really changed the way I go about sales was the DISC assessment. The DISC assessment is about different personalities. It's usually 4. The D stands for the driver. The I is the influencer. And in the bird animal world, it's the ego as a D. They fly alone. They know what they want. You have to be direct with them. The I is the parrot, very, very influential, very colorful, knows how to mirror people. Those people you got to become friends with in order for them to buy from you. The S is the dove. Those people you're not going to sell to right away. Those people you really have to make them feel like you're part of their team. And what's most important to them is that you have their best interest. And most likely those people are not going to make a decision on the first day. So you have to
Nurture
take your
them.
time and nurture them. Thank you. And the S is the owl, very analytical. Those people, you have to hit them with facts and stats. That's what they buy. That's what they're interested in, the value of something. So when I learned that in the whole fitness world, my sales, because we do have to sell personal training as you get clients at Equinox, skyrocketed to the point that out of 10 Equifits, 10 fitness valuations, they call them Equifits at Equinox, I would out of 10 I will sign one person. And then I got a little bit better, and out of 10 I will sign 3 people, which is a great average. In baseball, that's hitting 300.
Wow.
You're a Hall of Famer. And then I did this seminar about the DISC assessment, and I realized that I was treating, because I'm a natural I C, actually, because I'm also analytical. And the D's, they don't like to be tapped. Hey, buddy, what's going on? They don't like that. They just want, hey, tell me what it is.
Let me get it
How
done.
do I pay for it? They don't want to waste time. I'm going to let you know yes or no.
Yeah, where's the catch at?
Right. So
Just let me know what it is.
So the D's, I was turning them off, and the S, I was really turning them off, because I was trying to be their friends. They're like, I don't even know you yet. And the S and the I's, they would probably buy from me. But when I started,
So you had to learn how to read people then.
yes, read people.
How important is that in sales?
Ooh, probably the most important thing, because when you start reading people, I would say the most important thing in sales is lowering that wall. Everyone has that wall, whether
Yes.
you think you do or you don't.
Well, we obviously because you're coming towards them, they're saying, okay, he wants my money, and that's what he wants. So they're coming a little bit more probably on defensive side. Am I right?
100%. It's not even, well, I never really think he wants my money. But yes, essentially it's like that. But everyone has, if you ask anyone about what do you think about salespeople, they're going to tell you sleazy. They're going to tell you, all these negative things about salespeople. So that's what we're dealing with from hello.
Oh, I know.
So how do you change that? Well, you have to adjust to their personality. You have to make them feel comfortable. And essentially, you have to make them feel that you're here for them, to add value to them. Because I'm not selling you something you don't want to buy. That would be weird.
Yeah.
You may not know that you want to buy this, but I'm selling you something that you want to buy. And how do I know what you want to buy? By asking the right questions for the right reasons at the right time. Then for me to say, so this is really what you want, right? Yes. Okay, well, let me show you how I can help you achieve this. But I can't sell you this thing without having your emotions, without you telling me, no, Angel, I really want this. And then, for example, in the fitness world, you want to lose 20 pounds. You want to lose 20 pounds? Most personal trainers, what I would do before the disc assessment analysis and many other things that I did, I would say, great, awesome, I'm going to help you lose 20 pounds. Let's get to work right away. And you miss so much in that little... I may at some point now, when I tell you how many sessions you have to buy and how expensive it is, that excitement may not take you there. But if I say, you want to lose 20 pounds? How come you want to lose 20 pounds? Oh, no, I want to lose 20 pounds because I have,
Tap into their feelings, some emotional thing. You start getting little things involved.
Right. And, okay, great. I got to that. And then I'm going to say, how long have you been trying to do this? Oh, man, since college. College was what, 20 years ago? For the last 20 years, we've been trying to do this? And what have been the results? Why have you tried? And I'm getting deep into it, like, yeah. And from a scale from 1 to 10, how important is it really to you? 0, you don't really care. 10, it's really important to you. No, it's a 9 or a 10. So by the time I say, hey, it's 150 an hour, how would you like to pay for this? I already got all those emotions out of you. And you've told me how important this is for you. So the chances of you saying 150, I don't care, let's do it. Because now you really do know how long you've been trying to do this, how important this is for you, and you're going to understand that this is really going to add value.
You basically help them convince themselves.
You nailed it. I don't convince people like, oh, you're really good at persuading. I'm like, no, I'm not.
You're just pointing out the facts.
Correct.
By asking questions.
Correct. Because I actually don't like that word, persuasion, because I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I don't like to persuade you to do anything you don't want to do. I want you to be clear in what you want to do, so then you can actually make good decisions.
So then you were working at Equinox.
Equinox.
And then you said, man, you know what? Let me go ahead and start my own venture.
Yes. So
did you get ready for that? Did you get ready for that? Because obviously you're walking away from, your regular job to now going on your own, or were you kind of balancing both for the time being?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of crazy what I did with no experience at all. But I did speak to a few mentors, people that I was training. Again, I feel like I should have been paying these people that I was training because I learned so much from them. And I'm sure they learned a lot from me too. But man, it was so valuable, the information that I was getting from them in terms of business and so on. But I decided to just move to Miami because I was really close to opening something in New York, a personal training gym. But then I said, most of my connections are in Miami. I know so many people there and I had no luck finding a location in New York. So I said, if I'm going to do this, it's going to be in Miami. So I decided to come back here to my hometown, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. So I actually went back to Equinox here in Miami in Coral Gables
to start building a clientele.
Yeah, and that exactly, and that kind of turned into at the time, trying to make ends meet. Personal training was not doing it. my friend David was a club promoter, and he invited me to one of his parties, and I ended up bringing like 20 people, and he was like, dude, if you bring people like you brought tonight, I can pay you for this. And I was so naive. I was like, what are you talking about? That day I didn't pay for anything. I was like, yeah, we can do this. I was young. I was out anyways. And I started doing that with him. Personal training and promoting at night.
Wow.
Which lasted about a year and a half.
Hustling.
2 years. And then I was like, okay, this is not my lifestyle. I don't want to do this. But I'm so grateful that I did that because it taught me about community. It taught me about how to get people interested in one thing. It taught me like the whole promoting, marketing, that's an art by itself. So fast forward with personal training, I got to understand like the personal connection to people, how to ask questions and how to mirror them and so on. With promoting, it's all about marketing. So I got to learn a lot now to fast forward being a real estate agent. So go ahead, open up this company. It's called Quality Fitness. And since I couldn't find a location, I decided to open up a company that we offered in-home training. So, and we train these people in areas like Coco Plum where they have a fitness facility, so we didn't have to pay an overhead. And little by little, I knew people there, so they introduced me to other people, and then we started teaching free classes there. And then we will offer free complimentary evaluations, fitness evaluations. And then the team started growing really, really fast. At some point, I had about 10 trainers, 2 physical therapists that will go into your house and train you, and so on. And from there, okay, there was an opportunity.
What was the time span from you going on yourself and having those 10 people? Were you able to scale it pretty quick?
Yeah. So within 2 years,
wow,
things really started taking off. And then like the third year, it was time. Okay, like we're gonna open up the gym, and that's when I actually transitioned into real estate. So I met my mentor through another friend. I said, you got to meet this guy because he has a location for a gym. Okay, great. So I meet this guy. His name is Irvin Padron, who was the managing broker at Engel & Brokers. And he was helping me find the location for the gym. And in one of those nights that we're crunching numbers and analyzing things, he said, hey, we just got a new listing in Gables Estates. Who do you know that's looking to move into the area? I said, actually, I have a client. Put him in contact, and a few months later, boom, they close a deal. And he says, hey, I can actually pay you for this if you get a license. You should get a referral license. You have great contacts. So when I went to get my license to be a referral agent, and when I went there, the teacher, the guy teaching the class, was talking about more than what's in the book. He was talking about the actual business side of it and how it works. And I said, wow, this is what I'm doing in fitness now. And I've always loved real estate. If I really understand this market, like as well as I do the fitness world, I can really do some damage and I can really help a lot of people in this world. So I got my license and I went back to Irvin. I said, Irvin, I'm doing this real estate thing. He goes, what are you talking about? What about the fitness world?
So you stopped. So you never opened shop.
I never opened shop. The fitness company was still running because I had trainers, right? That worked.
But the actual location, the physical location.
Actual location never really opened because I never took action on it. I just transitioned into real estate, and my wife thought I was crazy. My wife was like, "What do you mean you have a good?"
How important is that? Now that you mentioned, I had no idea you were married. How important is it your significant other to support you when you do things like that?
Man, huge. Let me tell you.
To give her the credit too, because when I did my stuff, my fiance had
my wife would never get enough credit for what she's done for me. I cannot give her enough credit, and not just for this situation, but when you're opening a business, the
amount of hours
we're out here showing, man, we can do this, and we're selling to ourselves that we can do this, and we're putting up a smile, and we're doing it. Behind the scenes,
it's ugly.
Oh boy, only my wife sees these things, right? Like I do fall into this little depression. Like, can I do this or not?
A lot of people don't talk about it. Everybody wants to show everybody the beautiful things. Me too. A lot of people want to see they see what you drive. They see the stuff. They see the appearance of it. but deep down inside, it's lonely. It gets depressing. You know, it's very stressful. I always tell people, you have to be built for this kind of stuff. To be a business owner, to be an entrepreneur, you have to be built. And your emotions have to be like this, and you kind of have to be like, no, you can't show emotion.
Yes, I feel like 100%. You have to be very strong mentally, and you have to be okay with failure. If you're not okay with failure, get a job and work 9 to 5, bud, because in this world of entrepreneurship, you will fail. And as a matter of fact, that's how you learn, right? Like you learn, oh crap, I did this wrong and that failed, and now I got to learn a new way and never do this again, and so on. So anyhow, my wife, she doesn't get enough credit. She first of all, she thought I was crazy. She goes, everyone in Miami has a license. Like, you have a good business. Why change now? She was pregnant, which is what sparked this whole decision. I'm like, I don't want to be at the gym all the time. I loved it. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why I didn't want to open up a gym is because I thought I would be in an office crunching numbers all day, and that's not what I like. I like the personal connection of people.
Same here.
But at the same time, as a personal trainer, I have to be there, counting reps and so on. So I said, I want to have more time with my daughter that wasn't even born at the time, and I need to create a different business strategy. So anyhow, fast forward, my wife thought I was crazy. Everyone has a license in Miami. You know, the top producers now were the top producers 30 years ago. And I saw all of that as an opportunity. I said, okay, well, you're right. The people that are shining now have been shining for the last 30, 40 years, since before I was born. And I feel like people need a new face. People need a new hustle. And I said to myself, if the 1% can do it, I can do it too. And man, one day to another, I decided to just jump, dude. I decided to just jump. And when I couldn't afford a sales coach, I hired one. And, you know.
How important is that to always keep learning and always keep, seeking out, other people that have been in the field to kind of teach you? Did it benefit you?
Oh boy, I would say it's extremely important. In entrepreneurship, whenever you stop learning is when you stop growing.
And how many times have you? Because obviously you're seeking people that have been in the real estate for quite some time, and they would give you so much advice. Right? And this goes as business as well.
Right.
You have people that have done business, and they give you so much advice, and you listen to the advice, and they tell you, hey, don't go here, don't do this. This is what's going to happen. But you somehow tend to do it your way. Mm-hmm. And then when you hit rock bottom or when you fail, you're like, man, you know what? I should have listened to so and so. This is exactly what they were, telling me not to do.
Yep.
And I should have listened to the advice. I could relate to it 100%. I'm not sure if you can. Okay.
100%. And I'm grateful that a lot of these things happen early on. Like I got punched in the face a lot early on. For example, I got this one client. For me, as a rookie at the time, it was a big number. And I put all of my energy into this one client. And we got really, really close to closing this deal. And at the end, it fell through. And my mentor at the time kept on telling me, hey, listen, do not put all of your energy into this one buyer, no matter what the heck's going on. I don't care who you're working with. I don't care how big that ticket item is. You have to do your daily routine of prospecting. But I was so excited about this one deal, and it was a really, really big check for me, that I didn't listen to him. And I wasn't prospecting. I wasn't putting energy into other deals. I was just putting all of my eggs into this one deal. And then once it fell apart, man, I was like drained.
No, of course.
And then now I looked at my pipeline, there was nothing. So that's one of those moments where I was like, I should have listened to my mentor. And ever since then, I don't care if I am closing $100 million deal tomorrow. I'm working with Donald Trump. I'm buying something else. My daily routine is my daily routine. And I'm not going to let this one buyer, this one seller take all of my energy. I have to continue to prospect for new business, no matter what. And for those watching, if you don't like prospecting, get into another business. Because in this business, you can never stop prospecting. The day you stop prospecting,
you stop eating.
That's the day you stop eating. It may not be, because you have to remember, whatever your whatever seeds you're planting now are going to be the trees that are going to feed you later, right? So as soon as you stop planting seeds, you'll be able to eat for a little bit, but not for long.
Yeah, that's yeah, we in business you always go through things that you listen to people and you don't know if it's in the best interest, but yeah, I've made plenty of mistakes. So going back to the stuff before I cut you off. So your wife, pregnant, decided to do the thing. She would, and then
Yeah, so that she thought I was crazy. Why are you doing this? And I just had this itch to do it. And I'm the kind of person that I know that if I don't try something, I prefer to try something and fall on my face and say, oh, yeah, I tried it, than not try and live with that inside me, like what could have happened. Like with baseball, I'm fully clear that I gave it my all and I tried my all and I didn't make it. I'm okay with that. But I'm not going to be one of those guys like, oh man, if I would have just tried one more year, no. I gave it my all and I didn't make it to the highest level and I moved on to something. So the same thing with this, I wanted to do it. And yeah, I went forward with it. And, a year into it, I started seeing, so the first 6 months I was lost. I told you what happened with this one buyer. And then I was actually a commercial deal because I thought I wanted to do commercial, but then I would get residential deals here and there. So I was the commercial guy and the residential guy. And my mentor
you had to pick one niche.
Called me in one time and he said, hey, listen, don't be the jack of all trades, man. And he said this analogy, which is, he's a baseball guy too. And he said, have you ever seen a shortstop be the best at shortstop and also the best at right field or left field? And I was like, no, never. Like usually the best shortstop, that's all they do. Mm-hmm. The best catcher, that's all they do. I mean, they wake up and that's what they're practicing. They're thinking about that. That's all they do. So I said the same thing with you. You can't be the best commercial guy and the best residential guy. You can't even be the best guy, selling low-end stuff and high-end stuff. You got to get an itch to yourself. And then the more experience you get, then the more you're able to expand. And that's what I did, man. I started in this area called Cocoa Plum. And I was knocking on doors, man, cold calling, knocking on doors. And 3 months into it, it was like nothing. I was like, what the heck? But I stuck to the process and I believed in my mentor. And, and my wife was there supporting me the entire time. And she will listen to my calls. She was the one person he's the only person that has seen me like in the bathroom, like looking at myself, practicing my pitch and like all these things.
Of course.
Like, what are you doing? What are you, crazy?
No, you have to prepare, man. You have to prepare.
But man, I would do all of that. I would say my positive affirmations and all these things. And after a bad call, do my little breathing technique and move on to the next one. I mean, I was a little crazy, man.
No, but you have to be,
and it still am,
because you have to be persistent, and that's one thing that I also wanted to mention is nowadays, including myself, the younger generation is very impatient, and we're being trained that way because of social media. So then think about it: you went months without getting that deal or getting your first deal. I went years without being able to cut myself a check. Years digging into my savings, digging into, living a totally different lifestyle than I was accustomed to. But you have to be persistent because that light is at the end of the tunnel. You're just either one knocking on the door away, one phone call away of boom, hitting big. Is that how it was?
Yes. So after 6 months, I will say all these things that I was doing in terms of like learning people's names, learning everything about the neighborhood on a price per square footage, waterfront, non-waterfront, bridge, no bridge to bay, and all these things. People started calling me back. Hey, Angel, yeah, we spoke a few months ago or whatever that may be, and I'm considering selling my house. How much do you think my house is worth now? I was like, oh, wow, it's happening. And then out of nowhere, I would just run into people that lived in this area, and I would know their name, and people started asking me, and just the confident that I was speaking with about that area, I feel like people resonated with, and people started giving me chances, and one chance turned into another one. And
were you very honest with them? Because obviously you're being new to the game, and you don't know all these terminologies, you don't know all these things, you don't know what's really important in the sale? Were you honest with them up front, saying, "Look, or you already talking with that confidence?"
No, honesty
of knowing
honesty
all.
was my edge.
Okay.
Honesty was how I actually got clients, because I came into a market where things weren't really trading that fast, and things were sitting on the market. So I would come in with honesty, and people would tell me, "Yeah, but Angel, what have you sold?" And I would tell them, "You know what? Not much," which is the reason why no one is going to put as much energy as I am going to put it in, because no one's going to care more. For me to sell your house right now is the most important thing in my life. For other people that have other listings, they have things going on. For me, this is all I care about, because if I sell your house, most likely the guy next door is going to want to sell his house with me. And that energy, people are like, this young guy.
So in
I'm
other
gonna give
words,
this guy a chance.
so in other words, you were creating your own brand in the real estate,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I had a salesman at the dealership where I used to work at. He said, "Sam, everybody knows BMW, but you want people to think, you want to be your own brand. You want people to think, when they think BMW, to think of Sam, not of BMW." And that's the way I was able to grow. I have clients to this day. I've been out of the business for over 6 years. To this day, they still call me. Is that somewhat, your branding for people to think, hey, if I'm going to sell my house in this area, this is the one realtor I want to, the one broker I want to.
Definitely. A mentor of mine told me this. It's not how many people. It's how many people know you. It's how many people know you for what you do. So I wanted people to know that that's what I do, and this is all I do. I stopped the fitness, personal training, and this. I was just fully focused on selling real estate. And going back to when I said honesty was my edge, I would tell them, look, and I learned this from the fitness world, because people want to lose 20 pounds. Can I lose it in a week? But like, no, you want me to tell you the truth, or you want me to tell you just what you would like to hear? No, tell me the truth, or you sound like that kind of guy. Let me tell you what the real reality of this is, and I'll break it down for them. And the same thing in the real estate world, I will give them the truth, and everyone else was coming in with a fluff, right? Just, oh yeah, well, you want 10 for it? No, we can set up for 12.
They were just trying to get the listing.
They'll sign the listing, and then
And
every
that's it.
month they're saying, hey, we have to lower the price. Instead of, I would take a different approach, and people really liked it. Not everyone, obviously, but obviously people started giving me chances, and I think it's because I was so honest and so blunt, and also like just very genuine, and people saw how hungry I was. And I'm telling you, it was tough at the time not to give me a chance.
So you grew your team out. How hard was it for you to scale that and be able to teach? Obviously, because it has to be duplicatable, right? Is that something that you just, how was that whole process?
Yeah. How I started a team wasn't even, I didn't start the business thinking, oh, I'm going to be like this broker and start the Nicolas group. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking about this listing right here, right in front of me. I wasn't thinking too far away from this here right now. But how I started the team was staying true to my approach at the time, which it was, I'm a market specialist. So if you're calling me anything outside of Coco Plum or this Ponce Davis area, which is right outside of Coco Plum, I'm sending it to someone else. I'm not going to waste time on it, because I know if I do this out here, even though it may be a check, it's going to take time away from this specific niche that I really want to get good at. So I started a team just like that. And so you wanted something in Doral, I wasn't going to say no, but I'll be like, hey, Jacob, yes, that's fine. Tell me what you're looking for, and I'll connect them to the best person in Doral at the time. So I started doing my research for each area, who are the best people in those areas. And I would send them so many referrals that eventually be like, hey, listen, let's just work together. And that's how I started the team.
Look at that, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. Instead of trying to be a jack of all trades.
Yes. So in the beginning, my wife would be like, but you're leaving so much money on the table. But I knew that I was doing the right thing, because I would hate to take a job where I knew that I couldn't perform well and then that client will be like, Angel's nice and everything, but
It's
he
reputation.
didn't really deliver. In the other case, I'm going to put you in contact with the best market specialist in the area. And obviously, I will stay in touch with them, right? And manage the relationship a little bit. But those people will do a really, really freaking good job. So they will always come back to, Angel introduced me to this person. Angel's team is amazing. And that's kind of how word of mouth started.
That's awesome, man. And how long has the group been together?
So now for 8 years.
Look at that.
Yeah. 8 years, man.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. And I would say last year and this year is the first year that I'm really putting a lot of energy into the team. So into coaching them and really nurturing them.
When you hire,
Yeah.
right? Is there a series of questions that you ask? What are the things that you look for when you're in the hiring process and interviewing if they're a right fit for your team?
So I have to be honest with you. I don't think I'm really good at hiring people. I'm more of because then I go into like trying to sell you why it's so good to work with the Nicolas group. Then I forget to like grill you.
Yeah.
But I have gotten better. And when it comes to agents, I look for a few things. I looked in the funnel, and I actually show this in our interview. There's a funnel, a sales funnel for everything, and it's like this: it's leads, it's qualifying, pitching, or presenting, negotiating, closing. And I ask them, what do you think you're the best at? And based on their answers, then I kind of go back and see if they fit the team and so on. But I'm really looking for other team players. Do they fit the team in terms of the culture of the team? That's really what I'm looking for. Do they have clients? Do they have leads or not? They're going to learn how to do that, But those two things, and do they have the grit? Do they have the grit to like literally go after something, get punched in the face, and come back the next morning with the same energy of I want to go after it again? Do they have that? It's tough to find them, man. But I feel like I have a good group of team members that have that.
Where do you see your team, your business in the next 5 years?
Well,
have you casted that vision to them?
Oh yeah. I'm always. This may sound confusing because I live so much in the present, and what's important is right now. But in the business world, I've learned that you have to be living 5 to 10 years ahead, because that's what keeps motivating me because I feel like I'm always progressing. So I'm always 5 to 10 years ahead. And where I see ourselves in 5 years is, first of all, being number one in terms of volume in Miami. We're always bouncing around in the top 5. I want to be number one. We already started developing properties. We're going to continue to develop more properties. And we're going to put much more energy into new development in terms of getting listings for condos, like 100 units, 300 units. We're already selling them, where we're selling at a smaller scale, developments of 12 to 35 units. But we just got a big one in Coral Gables of 130 units, and working on another big one for 300 units. So that we want to get more into that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we will get more.
Of course. Well, Angel, I just want to thank you for the time. We could talk a little bit more next time into diving deep more into real estate, because I love real estate.
Yes.
It's one of my passions, and yeah, man. Given the fact that I'm actually in the field as well, I love to just how they say, talk shop.
Yes.
See the deals that are going on, especially down here in Miami, because the real estate market is moving, has been moving for quite some time, and we could definitely talk again and
I
dive
love
into
your niche. Thank you so much for having me. This is great. I've listened to your podcast in the past.
I appreciate it.
And I hope it's as good as the ones that I've listened to.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Angel.